Energy levels up.
Wah, 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 wah.
No. You hit the Mario star.
Because my kids now don't have to go to school and like we'll sleep in a little bit, it's like, oh, I could stay up later. It's like I can't stay up later.
No.
Like, who am I kidding? It's like 9 o'clock and like they're still bouncing off the walls. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
So please, kids, release me from this torture.
You always
Let me
think
go
you have
sleep.
like reserves, and you're like, I have no reserves. There's nothing in the tank.
The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new dads figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
So before we officially started the show, Jeff and I were speaking of a different role that drinks now play in our lives.
Right. Yes.
It's just I had gone to a beer fest and fantastic time. I wouldn't change a thing in the world how it went down, but the next morning was just so rough. You know, and you're casting your gaze backwards in time to a 20-year-old version of yourself.
Right.
Where you woke up with every youthful arrogance afforded to you, thinking, oh, I'm great at drinking. I could just drink all night and wake up. And then 4-year-old you is not in agreement with that statement.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just aging very quickly where you're just, hey, look at me. I could just bounce back up with no sleep and get on with my day. And now it's just like, I'm going to hug this carpet. I'm just going to stay here. Kids, you could just circle around me, pray for my well-being. Please don't hurt me.
Divide my things evenly, please.
Sign this paper, the will.
But at very least, our appreciation for beers have increased.
Yes.
The joy, it is drinking for joy, not drinking for purpose, as far as
That's right.
being silly and sloshed. And on that note, we continue with our summer of beers.
Yay.
So we've gotten a couple recommendations coming in. Thank you everybody for sending them in. If you have a beer you want us to try, Jeff and I will scour the earth trying to find it and the best we can to bring it in. So do keep those recommendations coming in at New Dad Gaming on Twitter or newdadgaming.com. And a shout out this week to Matt, good friend of the show, Matt, who unfortunately recommended an awesome looking beer.
Yeah.
Could not find it.
I couldn't find it here.
I looked. I really wanted this one too. So we have from Matt, good friend of the show, says started my summer of beers to be cool with you. We all know that's not true. None of us. Well, sorry. I don't want to overspeak. Matt might be cool. Representatives from this show.
That's right. Yeah.
It's in question. But started my summer beers to be cool with you. A bit hoppier than I normally like, but not a bad brew at all. Probably better super cold. Would recommend though. Describe this gorgeous bottle that Matt has pointed out.
Okay, first of all, this is a huge beer. Okay. It is a huge bottle with a huge, I would like to say, Gundam on it. So it's a huge robot, gigantic mecha red, in like this Godzilla type design.
Now Jeff has stopped describing it. That's the name.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gigantic
Mecha Red. Yes. It's awesome. I would love to have this beer here. But yeah, we couldn't find it. We'd love to try it. The hoppiness kind of grabs me. I like my hoppy beers, so maybe, down in the States, I might have to try this one out.
For the New Dad Gaming tour.
That's right.
We'll have to find it down there.
The summer tour, right?
To Matt, really glad that you're going along with us, and thanks so much for sending along the recommendation. Sadly, we couldn't find it. Anybody else, please do send us your recommendations. One I could find was from a brewery up here. It's called Perth Brewery, and it's one of those interesting ones where they don't ever make a bad beer.
Okay.
So far, I've had great luck with these guys. So if you ever see a beer from Perth Brewery, it's worth a pickup. I have noticed that sometimes maybe it just doesn't hit quite right for me or whatever, but some of them are just home runs, knock it out of the park, amazing. Other ones are just, this is delicious, this is nice.
Okay.
The one I am trying tonight is tangentially gaming related, being Last Duel. So we have two fellows facing off in an epic showdown.
Are about to be, right?
Yeah. Gorgeous looking can, but it's the Last Duel Lager from Perth Brewery. Delicious. It really is fantastic. So, Last Duel Lager in June 1833, Perth, Ontario, Canada's last fatal duel was fought over an insult to a young lady. So,
Oh, it's a
Sounds
beer
like
with
my
a story. Look at this.
The winner got the girl. Harkening back to its town's bold traditions of chivalry and honor, this is one refreshing lager that stands tall and shoots straight. That's good copy. That's very good. Anyways, it's a delicious beer. Like, it does really shoot straight as far as a lager goes. I'm kind of getting a bit of fruitiness to it, but what I like about it is when you find one of those breweries where it's a sure bet. It's like, okay, these guys don't do wrong. They take their craft seriously.
Yeah.
And even if it's not an absolute slam dunk, as far as you shout it from the rooftops, it's still really great.
Nice.
So Perth Brewery, Last Duel. Jeff, what are you looking at this week?
Okay, I'm looking at a name that I can't say.
Say it. Say the
So
name.
it's Velkompapafiki.
Okay.
Okay, it's Kozel. It's a Czech beer. So obviously a Czech name that I do it no justice in saying. Starts with a V. But yeah, this is a lager. A lot of sites call it a Pilsner, but it's premium lager, almost 5%. Very easy to drink. Nothing too special about it. But kind of foamy on the pour. So if you don't like foam, I would kind of stray away from this one. But otherwise, it's a good one. I'd pick this up again if I wanted. But it's authentic Czech taste gets me. I'm not sure what that means, but if it tastes like this, I'll try another Czech beer and compare it.
I'd love to see, like, 2 or 3 poured, and then someone tries a third beer. It's like, that's not
not right. Yeah.
It'd almost be like someone trying to say, like, that's not Canadian beer, and it's like, this
What does that mean?
diverse. Like, how would you possibly nail it?
That is a wide spectrum. Yeah. So this one is just, nice, easy pour, nice, easy drink. Kind of a little bit hoppy, but not too much. Yeah.
Very good. So great beer. So again, thanks to Matt at DeMatt for the recommendation. We got Last Duel and Kozel, another as the summer
You didn't
of
say
beers.
the name. You just said the company name. I hear you.
I wrapped around. What can I say? So we'll move things on to now. Summer of beers. How about summer of kid gaming?
Maybe.
So maybe.
Yeah.
This is almost a question for Jeff, and even like the indie gaming dads, if they have their own tactics to it. But my kids are out of school, so summer vacation has officially begun.
Wow.
I think Jeff, yours are out next week.
Yeah, next week I got a few more days before they break free.
Yes, maybe we should take some paid days off. Just like, listen, I need a mental.
Exactly.
I need the quiet for a few more days.
Yeah.
So they're and the first thing they say when they get away from school is, "Hooray! We can play video games every day."
Absolutely.
It's like you are in the parking lot of the school. Can we not have a few kind words for our education system before we get into it? But so they're super excited about it. I think, and we're trying to find the mix because it is summer. It's a chance to unwind and kind of play and be a kid and do what they enjoy. They enjoy gaming so much. Like, we're happy for them as long as they stay on the straight and narrow. I mean, obviously, if like behaviors go wild,
Right,
it's gone quickly.
Yeah.
But if they're staying on the straight and narrow, they're being good. It's like we don't mind them having a little more game time during the summer, and it really helps in the morning because now summer, as far as a parent's perspective, is we don't have to wake up super early to pack the lunches, make sure all the homework's kind of gathered, get their bags ready, the whole thing, so we can sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
relief, right? It's summer for us a little bit, right? We get a part of it.
Little taste.
Yeah.
A little nibble of summer for ourselves. Call it an extra hour in the morning because you don't have to wake up.
That's right.
So with that in mind, that we're trying to find the mix, and I'm wondering how you and your wife handled it from a parenting perspective. Because I'll tell you my pitch, and then you can rate it.
Okay. All right. 0 to 10?
Yeah,
10 out of 10?
0 to 5 beers.
Okay.
How many beers you buying me? Yeah. And then you can tell me how you guys do it. So our general thinking has been, all right, we'll put it at 2 hours a day.
Okay.
It's funny because I'm even in saying it, I almost feel like that's a bit much, but it's still over the course of the day, either at night or just like in the morning, so we can get a bit extra sleep. We'll have it like 2 hours a day, cap it, right? And then the trick we're going to try, because he's in French school, he's learning French. His French came a huge way. We're so proud of him. He learned so much French this year. I was dropping off. I can remember distinctly when I dropped him off at the beginning of this year, and he got out of the car. You know, the person accepting him couldn't get a word out of him edgewise, and by the end of it, he was like just full sentences. He was speaking with this woman in French. It was beautiful. It's
Nice.
such a proud
Yeah.
moment. But he can't lose it, right? I can't have him just like waste away in the summer and completely go downhill. So the gambit is all right. So you get your 2 hours of game,
Okay.
right? That's your as long as you stay on the straight and narrow, that's your setup. If you want some extra game at night, and maybe we can play together, you have to read one French book with us because
Okay.
he's also reading now at this point. So it's A, practice reading, B, practice reading in French. So one French book and some math. If you do those two things, you can get a little bit of extra game just to try to keep you sharp.
Okay.
So you see the calculus going on in his head where it's like, like I love gaming, but I hate math. Because that sounds like homework. All these things you're
that
saying
sounds like school what I just got out of.
What do I do?
Yeah.
So what's your thought? Like, what do you think of that approach, and how does that mirror some of the thinking, mirror or not mirror, what you're doing in your household?
Well, if I put my brain into your son and just think from his perspective, I would say, what if I played a French game?
That would always be better. I've been thinking about switching all the consoles to French as a
French?
primary language.
Yeah.
Just because I'm thinking if he's playing Lego Avengers and all the characters are just spouting French,
I mean,
like it can't help, right?
do
Osmosis, at least.
yeah, no, I think that's a good setup. We're up to a little bit more hours. So when you say 2 hours for the entire day, my kids would go bananas. I think they're at like 5 or 6 just through the balance of the day. So if we're talking entire day into night, because they stay up until 8:30, 9 o'clock, it's quite a time period for them. But if we go back, it's just all they've never ever known for summers, well, at least the last couple of years, have been a pandemic summer. And they got a lot of flexibility with game time because, we were wary of, going out and merging with other friends. We're not sure where the virus is sitting, whatever. Stay inside. We realize that, there's not much to do here, even in the backyard with yourselves. So game time is whatever. Everyone's stressed out. Go game.
It was a relief. It was a blessing, honestly. Like it really was. Because you can imagine, like if that had hit when we were kids,
Oh yeah,
it would have been so. At least us had, depending like Nintendo or like PlayStation, so we probably would have been all right. But you keep going back. It's like it's gonna get progressively worse every generation backwards. Like he would have had nothing.
No.
He would have been staring at candles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but so like even pre-COVID, I'm just thinking like both my wife and I had jobs and we had to get camps over the summer. So they would be arranged camps every week, some changing every couple or few weeks, and they would have very little time for gaming because by the time they got home, they'd be exhausted.
Yeah.
They would eat dinner and crash, and the gaming time would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this year we don't have camps lined up because now everyone's remote working and we have that kind of flexibility and want to save some of that money. They do have to pick out a couple camps to cover off the weeks, but then we have to sit down and really talk about game time because that is something that you're mentioning it now. I'm like, we don't really have a plan this year because
like, oh no, I think that might be a lot of gaming dads listening.
Yeah,
at this point.
because now that we work from home, like we can't really be interrupted, and they know that when we're Zoom meeting, they have to stay away and everything, so they have to be quiet, and usually games would shut them up. Like that would really just hold their attention for more like an hour or two, right?
It's the reality of working from home. Like
Yeah.
it's just been revealed from this last bit.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking my kids are a little bit older than yours where they have friends online and they're all going to game online, and that's where they get their kind of, social time.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a balance. And I think what you have is like gamifying the gaming setup, which is great. I think that works. And we've tried that here where it's just like, if you go out, spend an hour or, pick up leaves or whatever, just some other chore, do your laundry, do your, bathrooms, whatever, you can get back on the screen. But until those things are done, you're not getting it, right? So it's just like they have to do something else. And now they could go over to friends' houses. They're a little bit older to cross the street and stuff. So maybe that's a factor, right?
Yeah. Would you consider it different if they go to a friend's to play a game, or a friend comes to your house to play a game? And I don't even mean like, I'm not even being cynical about it as far as like a cheat code, but I'm doing it with a friend. But it is a cheat code. But you know what? But I don't even want to be cynical about it. Like, do you consider that a different type of activity if you're in meet space with somebody else and you're playing a game?
I think so. I think I'm not gonna like hardline it saying no, you were still on the screen, so you get nothing, right? Like you were with a friend, you were probably socializing, talking about other things while you're playing a game. That's fine. I think that's fine. It's funny that you say that because my older son, he has a friend where they say they play basketball at the friend's house. I'm like, are you really playing basketball? Because he's out there for 3 hours. I'm like, are you really doing that in this 30-degree heat? I don't think so, right? Like, just tell me the truth. He's like, well, half of it is basketball. The other half is inside playing whatever computer game.
Right.
I'm like, that's fine. I just want to know where you are. Right? Like,
I like that he owned up to it. That's good. He's like, okay, maybe more like 90-10%.
Actually, like,
he just keeps rolling.
Yeah, I'm taking like his word, and maybe I should just half that as the like the truth isn't always all the way there. I'm not sure, but
I think if he offered it up, that would sound about right.
Yeah.
The way to test is like to get him to try to dunk on you. It's like your skills are not improved.
Yeah.
For someone who plays 2 hours a day, I don't know. It's pretty weak dribble skills, bud.
I didn't say physical basketball. I said NBA Jam.
It's like NBA 2K.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of the card packs.
Yeah.
Microtransactions. Son, no. No, son of mine.
Not here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you got a good plan going. Let me know how that works out, though.
That's the key. This is really, and I've said that to him in preparation. It's like, we are going to try this.
Right.
Here's what we're thinking, and we're going to see how the summer goes, man, because we can't have you zombified and lose all the progress you've made. But it's summertime, and we want you guys to have some fun and relax.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to try, and we're going to work together and see how it goes. And then, like, I'll report back. I'll see how it goes.
No, that's good.
I'd be curious to see so gaming dads, like if you guys have a plan in place for your kids with gaming, reach it out and let us know. Like, we're kind of curious to see how the dads are handling it this summer. Kind of, I don't like the word post-pandemic, but if you'll if you'll forgive the wording, the first post-pandemic summer, like what's this going to look like? So at New Dad Gaming, newdadgaming.com. Now, one thing you can do with your kids that no one's ever going to fault you for is taking them to the library.
Yay!
The super cool library. The reason I bring this up, so it's a couple stories. I'm going to try to keep this brief. This is the longtime viewers might recall I sold my PlayStation Pro to get the Xbox Series S.
Right.
So there was this perfect merger because nobody wanted the Series S, so it was cheap. And PlayStation 4 Pro was still like fairly well regarded.
Yeah.
So as basically just to go sideways. It's been amazing. It's been fantastic. But I keep getting these emails from Sony. It's
Come
like,
back,
hey,
come back.
Good news! Like because Sony just launched all their new tiers for gaming, all their like PlayStation Plus stuff. But I keep getting it, and the last one said like you have 8 months left of this service before we renewed.
Oh,
like 8 months. Like, damn, I would have thought it was over by now, or would have been over like in a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, geez. And then serendipitously, I was hanging out with my good friend he happens to have multiple PS4s.
Just sitting around, in case you called. Like, he's going to call one day.
It was a series of really wild circumstances, and then he had also upgraded to a PS5.
Oh, okay.
So these things like were legitimately just gathering dust, and I asked him, it's like, could I borrow one of your PS4s? He's like, oh, of course, like, please, like, have at it. Great, good friend indeed. So So I got a PS4 all of a sudden. I got
Oh,
a PS4 back in my house. It showed back up. I'm back in the Sony game.
Back in it. Okay.
But it was that email where it's like, hey, you still have all of this. And I'm thinking about all the games I had legitimately bought with money, or games that I'd got through PlayStation Plus, which I still have apparently an account for like 8 more months. So I decided to throw it down. Away it goes.
Oh, wow.
So downloaded. All right. So the big ones for me to finish would be Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
And Dad of War. Now with Horizon, what is interesting, like it's one of those feel like all dads can relate when you go back into an open world game.
Oh yeah,
it's just like the blinding lights and the scale of it is like, what the hell is going? What was I do? What are any of these buttons?
I'm lost.
Like,
I'm lost.
Who's this? Like, what is he talking about?
Why do I care about this? Oh yeah, the end of the world. Right, got it.
So I just start following a beacon. Next thing I know, there's like a gang of like 6 dinosaurs that just maul me. I'm like, all right, well, here we go. Anyways, that's not the point. So that's all interesting. That's all fine. Great. I had mentioned the library. So what was fascinating is we took a big family trip to the library, which is amazing. And lo and behold, I look over and there's all these physical games. Physical games, Jeff. I don't touch these things anymore.
Jeez.
Like actual plastic discs and everything.
What does that look like?
It was wild. It's just good games too, like relatively recent. Like these were all games, honestly, that I'd probably want to play. There's some RPGs. There's all sorts of stuff.
That's amazing.
And lo and behold, there's this one. It's Riders Republic.
Okay. All right.
From Ubisoft. This is one like said, and this is one I've been waiting on to come to Game Pass because it looked cool.
You got your library pass. Take that, Game Pass.
Yeah, yeah, Game Pass. More like Library Pass. Thank you. Oh, that has got to be the title of this episode. So, anyway, it's awesome. So I rented a game, Jeff. I rented a video. 2022, like a 20 to 25 year delay. I've rented a video game and brought it home and played it.
Wow,
it was wild, man. And my favorite part of the whole memory is that the first time I put it in, just like the PlayStation's whirling away like chaga, 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 chaga. I'm like, oh no, maybe his disc is just broken. That's a shame. I take it back out. It is smudged.
Oh yeah.
It is smudged to the nth degree. Like some kid just took his Cheeto-filled hand and just raked it across the disc.
That just brings back memories, like those authentic rentals.
It brought me right back. It's like, this is just like rentals
There
as
you
I
go.
used to remember. Yeah. So we went back. I couldn't. So anyway, so funny kind of stories like to rent a game and have it happen exactly as we used to remember it, as far as like looking at the aisle, choosing it, getting a physical disc, going home.
Yeah.
I had my wife drive me home so I could read the booklet on the side. I'm so excited.
Look, it's got a map and a little instruction booklet.
And then to have it not work because it's just filthy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. I'll say too, the last part of it too, my kid noticed this new console immediately.
Oh, of course.
It wasn't set up for like 20 minutes before these kids were in this office. Like, what's that? What's that? Has I played games? Like, oh, you.
They sniff it out. They're just like, wait, something's different. Something I can play is different.
Kiddar, man. So all suffice to say, gaming dads, like, if you have a system that can play physical media, like, check out your libraries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I was really surprised at the amount of selection at this place. Like, there was a lot of games. Like, it was very cool. So, I mean, as kind of a summer treat or just to try something out, this is a game. Again, I really wanted to try this game. So, get to load it up for free, have to return it in a week.
I was about to say, what's the time frame? Because a week, that's probably a good amount. If you're getting an RPG, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the library multiple times.
I'll just rip through this Final Fantasy real fast. I'm dead time.
Staying up for 24 hours. I'm going to do it.
Now, a game that you did not rent, but you did pick up was Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
Which, it is an older game, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, this is a PS3, Xbox 360 era game. And you're like, why would you pick this game up? Well, I'll tell you, Trevor.
Let me answer that question you just asked, Trevor.
There's a lot of hype recently just with Capcom and the celebration of Dragon's Dogma. I think it's the 10th anniversary, and they announced a sequel. I'm like, well, what is this game? Because everyone's going crazy for it. And I heard my ears perked when they said it was kind of like Monster Hunter meets Witcher. I'm like, what?
Hold on. You had me at Witcher.
That's right. I'm like, Witcher. That's perfect. So I picked this one up, the original, like I said, and it's $5-6. It's super super cheap, and picked up on the Switch. Had a go at it, and I will say it is totally my bag. It is an RPG, action RPG, right? So it's no turn based or anything. So it's more like The Witcher. It's got a party system and mages, warriors, archers, all sorts of stuff. All the equipment you can buy, all the mechanics I haven't figured out yet. But it looks really deep and really engaging. Like it's fun to play. Still got that jank of this this era though. Like it is by no means like a smooth experience.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of like Skyrim-esque elements, if that makes sense, right? Like when you talk to someone, it like zooms in on their face. Those with the dialogue choices, and you're like, whoa, too close for me.
Have you found that, like, on that point before you continue, like, have you found though, charming's not the right word, but it's almost more honest, and it's like I find there's something very true or just like refreshing about how straightforward some of this era of gaming was, in that there was to be no, and this isn't a big rant against DLC and microtransactions, but because there would be no expansion, download size, okay, you can do a bit of an update, but it's not going to be a day one 40 gig patch. You know what I mean? It's like these things really felt complete and earnest. I think that's probably more the word. It's like this is the game we wanted to create. We tried our best. And you kind of get that care. Am I off on that? Like I've just found that there's something about this era of gaming where it's a lot more earnest, and it's kind of interesting to revisit.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Just you can see all the elements in this game and games of this era, like you were saying, that they were just focused in on because they couldn't add to it later. Where I think now you experience games and you're like, oh, they cut that game content because that door is locked, but it's totally going to open if I pay $19.99, right? Like you could just tell that like they had to shave down some of the scope of a game, because I imagine it does get larger as the game drags on, and these ones kind of like they had to chop it somewhere and they just focused it all in on that gameplay experience. So there's a jank to it just by nature of evolution of games, but it's complete, like you were saying. Like there's a lot here, and I could dive into this for hours. Probably will for hours. Let's be honest. Like it's got bulletin boards, and Witcher had bulletin boards with all the quests, so you could just take all the quests from every city and have a quest.
So I had distracted you from your main point. So you were talking about it's Witcher 3. It's an RPG system. You're getting into it. There's the jank of Skyrim.
Oh, there's so there's the pawn system. So the pawn system are like NPCs that you hire into your party. Nice. And they learn what they learn in the game time they spent. So if they go into a dungeon, they'll start learning about the dungeon, enemy types, all that stuff. And you can always switch them out. So you can go to this portal realm and switch them out with different NPCs, different ones that are created, and they're all pawns, and you invite them into your system. So if there is a boss you can't beat and you need more magic, more mage, you recruit those into your party for that quest. They learn, and then you kind of put them back and get your other original members out. Pretty cool. And then I found out they have like an online system of that pawn system, so your own people can be used in other people's worlds. And when they are used in those other people's games, they earn money for you that are into your game. And that you can trade and buy stuff.
So you could be, when you're not playing, or maybe when you are, but your character, your custom built character, becomes a mercenary in other people's games.
Yeah.
And you get to keep the spoils.
Right.
Oh, that's so cool,
man. That's a cool system.
Do you know what I mean though? As far as like that's what I'm talking about with this earnestness stuff. They were trying cool, interesting stuff. They were trying really hard.
Yeah.
And they had some janky limitations of these systems, so there was kind of like these interesting creative stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a cool system.
Yeah, I was blown away at like, what do you mean? And then you can go into that portal realm that I talked about, and if you go online, you can see other people kind of walking around, which gave me that kind of Dark Souls-y vibe, like how you can see the players aren't playing, but that's their character. and you have them,
so
and you
cool.
can earn money for your buddy, which is a cool thing. Now, quick thing, I will say, I bought this on the Switch, and all those online systems do not work because I don't have Nintendo Online, and I missed out on that. I didn't read the description, and I should have. And I'm sad about that. So that's one little caveat. Like, if you're going to buy the system, make sure you have the online for it.
Yeah, for whichever system you're getting it on. Because I imagine the same holds true for PlayStation and Xbox if you're not paying for any of the online versions of the system.
Yeah.
And maybe you could find this game at the library.
That's true.
Damn, that's a great little pick. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally recommend it.
I'm not like I don't know that there's going to be a renaissance of this era for its graphics. I will say that I think these graphics are good enough. If you do a little bit of upscaling, it doesn't have to be much bigger than that. I think a game like Valheim, for instance, showed that, where if the core of the game is really solid and rewarding, you can get away with some jank.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see the renaissance of that you do see with 2D sprites.
Right.
People doing really creative stuff with it. But I think a perhaps newfound appreciation for the effort that was going into these kind of cool, interesting titles, as gaming was really, I don't want to say exploding. Gaming was huge and it was big, but it was really becoming something different. The type of titles like Witcher had come out, and these kind of big expansive things where it's this could be something more than just hack and slash. So I think looking back fondly on it and review of some of these titles, I think will probably start to come up in the coming years.
Yeah, I just piggybacking off what you said. I like the experimentation too of this era, those systems, right? That's not a mainstream thing at this time, and I think more today a lot of those games kind of get pared down and be like, oh no, we're gonna do for the mass population, right? We want as much gaming sales as possible, so we're not gonna try out these systems too much. There are some games that totally break that, but I think we lost a little bit of that as the indie studios are kind of being bought up and kind of folded into these more bigger scope games. So
yeah, nope, exactly it. So that's a great pick. So pick it up. Sounds like is it still on sale? Do you happen to know what that?
I think it's on sale maybe for another day or so. But it'll go on sale again. It'll go on sale again for sure. Okay, yeah. This is an old one, so
yeah. So Dragon's Dogma.
Yes.
New dads, check it out. This looks like it's a gem from the past. Blast from the past.
Blast from the past.
Blast from the past. Modern gem. And that will do it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you have a game pick, if you have a recommendation on how you are approaching your kids and limiting their game time, if you have appreciation for Dogma, Dragon's Dogma, if you have a beer pick for us to test out and for us to find, all of these things, we would absolutely love to hear from you. One of the greatest parts of this podcast has been the back and forth with fellow gaming dads, hearing ideas and stories, sharing wins, laughing at losses. So if you want to reach out to us, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or find us on Twitter at newdadgaming. Oh man, what does come next? I think it's subscribing to the podcast.
Yeah. Please subscribe.
If you like the show, please subscribe to the podcast. It really does help us out. A subscription, and especially a rating on any of the platforms, really does help us out. It really boosts the signals to all the gaming dads. You can find us on all the podcasting networks: Caster, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere where you get your podcasts. Just search for New Dad Gaming. And with that, we'll wrap it up for the week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
And just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over, unless there's DLC.
Then it's $2.99. All right, bye. See you next week.
See you later.